Good day, and thank you everyone for joining us on the second edition of the Captains of Cement and Concrete Production Leader Series. With us today we have Solomon Baumgartner Aviles, the CEO of Lafarge Egypt. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Tracy.
Thank you. So the first question we have today, I think is very pertinent, and everybody is talking about this, of course. It is your perspective on sustaining and growing in unusual times, and this is with particular reference to COVID-19. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience at Lafarge in Egypt with how COVID-19 has kind of affected your business and processes over the past few months?
Yeah. Okay, on COVID-19, in Egypt, it had, I would say, the similar effects as we have seen in the global context. When the crisis started in March, April, it was really a very sharp decline in terms of sales and volumes. We've seen immediately a 15 to 20% decline in our demands. However, I have to say, it kind of recovered quite quickly. In May, June, we were almost back to normal consumption rates. So the good thing in Egypt, I have to give the government some compliments. They had quite fast reactions to this crisis. And what they did, I think, was a very good decision at that time, although there were a lot of curfews put in place. A major construction project continued through the whole period of the crisis and allowed to have a certain base consumption going forward. As you might know, in Egypt is moving more and more gradually into becoming a bulk cement country, more mature and more complex in the projects we are doing. We are today in roughly 30% bulk versus 70% bag cement. So it really helped to help this transition of becoming a more mature market in itself.
Okay, very interesting. And could you tell us a bit more, besides COVID-19, a little bit more about the top two to three kind of macroeconomic challenges that the industry faces as a whole?
The cement industry as a whole, from my point of view, in the short and the midterm, it's really successfully evolving toward a more carbon-conscious business model. I think, as you've maybe heard today, Lafarge Holcim has announced its pledge to the zero net CO2 pledge. I think this will be what is really going forward for the whole cement industry and everything that comes with it. Yes, in part of it is really how do we continuously improve our efficiency in terms of production, but how do we also change our production rate, product ranges, in order to really supply to the demand of the future, to become more green in what we are doing and how we are doing that. And third, to comply with the society problems or society pressures, as we are we have our manufacturing sites in the midst of communities. So how do you coexist? How do you collaborate with them as the CO2 and climate change becomes more and more evident for everybody? So from my point of view, besides COVID, which is a temporary challenge, I think the mid-long-term issues really how we are coping with the climate change in itself as an industry.
Yeah, that seems to be quite a popular perspective or opinion from many cement producers that I've spoken to recently. So it's good to know that a lot of people have this on their radar. Conversely to the challenges, what would you say are the biggest opportunities for growth and sustainability in cement production?
Yeah, exactly in that area. The challenge is to find something new, but at the same time, this is the opportunity in itself. For us at Lafarge Egypt, I think it's really going into new products as our mother company has been proposing having green construction cement going into more a circular economy. I personally believe that our cement plants will evolve more and more into a recycling plant. And producing cement will be more a second thing. A primary thing is really help society dealing with their waste problems, and as an output, because that's the big advantage of being a cement player, we really consume everything. We're not generating any new waste. We will produce a cement as a product to be sold. this is what really comes. So there will be a lot of new products, and the fastest will be the winner, who reacts the fastest to it. And the third is the whole digitization process. I do also believe this COVID has clearly shown, not only to the other industries, but also to the cement industry, that there is a lot of opportunity to improve our efficiency. As you might know, the construction business in itself has had very little production gains or productivity gains over the last few decades, so to speak. Now we have started to realize that digital can actually help us also to accelerate that, in particular at our plants, moving really into more machine learning, artificial intelligence to use to cope with the difficulties. As if you're going more and more alternative energies, you will have more and more variables that are coming in, and that will be less easy for humans to operate as it becomes more and more complex, to maintain a variety of inputs and still have a very consistent product as an output.
Yeah, that actually leads us on to the next question. I think you've probably answered quite a lot of it. It's the role of technology and I suppose for the 4IR, the next industrial revolution. What would you say the changes and the new technologies that are emerging, how are they going to affect the industry and business process moving forward?
I'm not so sure whether there will be a lot of new technologies in itself, to be very honest with you. What I'm sure about is there will be a more efficient use of technologies as we have it today. And as I said, I think that digitalization will become a major driver to that, to really help us predict situations, look in advance what's really going to happen. Imagine today, my prediction level from a failure in a cement plant is somewhere between any good plant, maybe 3 months. Yes, if I can predict this 6 months, 12 months in advance, the whole operating model will change with it. How we are interacting with our suppliers, how we are interacting with our service providers will change with it. So I think there is where the innovation really relies, not necessarily having new technologies or have a new cement plant type of thing, but how you use existing cement plant, how you use the digitization to change the operating model of current existing plants.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. And then I suppose the last technical question I have for you today is Lafarge Holcim it's a very large, it's a large company, but regionally speaking, so specifically to Egypt and I suppose North Africa and the Middle East, can you tell us a little bit more about the regional factors that are influencing production?
In Egypt in particular, what really is the biggest challenge for us here is the overcapacity. And as you know, this is a global issue, but here in Egypt, this is a real issue, which is beside COVID, in my view, has had the biggest impact this year. Actually, COVID we can deal with. The overcapacity, that's more difficult to deal with individually. Yeah? So on top of that, the Egyptian government has rightfully issued a decree to crack down on illegal construction, which has made everything, just amplified the problem in itself. And we are looking this year, at roughly 15% less consumption in last year, in a market which has been declining over the last few years. We have 40% overcapacity, which makes huge pressures on prices, where you can't hardly differentiate because it's an OPC market as we speak. So really the new stuff that's starting to develop, yes, where we can go and differentiate with different products in the market. That makes Egypt a little particular, I would say, to others, but not so different to many African countries which are struggling either from self-inflicted problem of the cement sector in itself or some regulatory issues when it comes to government interferences or others.
Yeah, that is another one of the big issues that I'm hearing over and over. Beyond this, because this is part of the Leader Series, we would also like to know a little bit more about you, about the person that drives the business. Could you tell us about what do you enjoy doing when you're not thinking about cement production?
Lately, it has been difficult not to think about anything, but First and foremost, I'm a family man, so I try to really spend quality time with my family, with my two boys. And then if there is some time left, I like sports. I like to discover. Right now, I'm taking boxing classes, yes, because I feel it's fitting the situation where we are in. It requires, your training. It's a holistic view on your body and your training, but it teaches you agility, it teaches you force, resilience, So it has every element, and I found it very fitting with the situation we go through here in Egypt in itself. And so I'm exploring this new sport for me. So sport is a big element in my life, besides really family.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time today, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you very much, Rezi. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Great.